Success is strange. Most people spend their lives following a path that already exists. Go to school, get a degree, find a stable job, work hard, save money, retire someday, and hope life turns out well. Society presents this path as safe, logical, and responsible. But what if following the crowd only guarantees average results? What if the biggest opportunities in life come from thinking differently instead of thinking safely? That is the core idea behind 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is not just a writer. He is a billionaire entrepreneur, investor, and co-founder of PayPal, as well as one of the earliest investors in Facebook. In this book, Thiel shares an unusual perspective about business, innovation, wealth, and the future. But this is not just a book for entrepreneurs. It is a book about how progress happens and why most people fail to create extraordinary success. The title 0 to 1 sounds simple, but it contains a deep meaning. Going from 0 to 1 means creating something entirely new, something that did not exist before. Going from 1 to N means copying something that already exists and expanding it. For example, inventing the first airplane was a move from 0 to 1. Building more airplanes afterward was moving from 1 to many. Creating the first smartphone was 0 to 1. Manufacturing millions of smartphones later was 1 to N. Peter Thiel believes real wealth and extraordinary success come from moving from 0 to 1, not simply copying what already works. This idea challenges almost everything society teaches us. We are taught to compete, imitate successful people, and follow proven systems. But Thiel argues that competition often destroys profits, creativity, and originality. The biggest fortunes in history usually came from people who created something unique instead of fighting everyone else in crowded markets. The book asks one uncomfortable question that forces people to think deeply. What important truth do very few people agree with you on? That question matters because breakthrough ideas almost always begin as unpopular opinions. If everyone already agrees with an idea, then it is probably ordinary, obvious, and crowded. Extraordinary success usually comes from seeing something valuable before everyone else notices it. Throughout this book, Peter Thiel explains why monopolies are better than competition, why startups matter, why secrets still exist in the world, why timing matters, and why the future is created by bold thinkers willing to build something new. His message is simple but powerful. The future does not happen automatically. Someone builds it. And if you want extraordinary success, you cannot simply follow the crowd. You must think differently. Chapter 1. The Challenge of the Future. Peter Thiel begins the book with a powerful question. What will the future look like? Most people assume the future automatically becomes better because technology improves over time. But Thiel argues that progress is not guaranteed. A better future only happens when people intentionally create it. He explains that there are two types of progress: horizontal progress and vertical progress. Horizontal progress means copying something that already exists and spreading it. Vertical progress means inventing something completely new. To understand this better, imagine one country successfully builds railroads, factories, and roads. Another country copies the same model and builds similar systems. That is horizontal progress, going from 1 to N. Now imagine someone invents electricity for the first time. That changes everything. That is vertical progress, going from 0 to 1. The difference is enormous. Horizontal progress improves existing systems. Vertical progress changes civilization. Peter Thiel believes most societies become obsessed with copying instead of inventing because copying feels safer. Schools teach students to follow instructions, pass exams, and avoid mistakes. Businesses often imitate successful competitors because it seems less risky than innovation. But here's the problem. When everyone copies the same thing, competition becomes brutal. Margins shrink. Originality disappears. Growth becomes harder. Think about restaurants. If 10 burger shops open in the same area selling almost identical products, they constantly fight for customers. Prices fall. Advertising costs rise. Profit becomes difficult. Now imagine someone invents something entirely new that solves a problem no one solved before. Suddenly, they are not fighting competitors. They are leading a category. This is one of the biggest lessons in 0 to 1. Massive success usually comes from uniqueness, not imitation. Peter Thiel argues that many people secretly fear creating something original because originality comes with uncertainty. It is safer to follow existing paths, but safe paths rarely create extraordinary results. This idea applies to careers too. Most people compete for the same jobs, same promotions, same opportunities, and same recognition. But people who develop rare skills or unique expertise often escape brutal competition entirely. The challenge of the future is not asking, what already works? The better question is, what valuable thing does not exist yet? Because every great company, invention, and breakthrough began with someone imagining a future different from the present. Thiel also warns against blind optimism. Many people believe things will somehow improve automatically. But progress is never automatic. The internet did not appear magically. Someone built it. Smartphones did not happen naturally. Someone created them. Economic growth does not happen randomly. People innovate. The future improves only when individuals take responsibility for building something valuable. This changes how success should be viewed. Success is not only about working harder. Sometimes it is about thinking differently. The biggest rewards usually go to people who see opportunities invisible to others. And that requires courage. Because the best ideas often sound strange at first. When the Wright brothers imagined human flight, most people thought it was impossible. When early internet companies appeared, many people laughed at them. When smartphones first emerged, some believed computers would never fit into pockets. The lesson becomes clear. The future belongs to people willing to believe in ideas others ignore. And every extraordinary journey begins with moving from 0 to 1. Chapter 2. Party like it's 1999. Peter Thiel takes readers back to the late 1990s, the era of the internet boom. At that time, investors believed technology companies would change the world overnight. Money flooded into internet startups. People believed almost every online company would become rich. Excitement turned into obsession. Then reality hit. The dot-com crash destroyed billions of dollars. Many companies disappeared. Investors lost trust. Fear replaced optimism. This moment deeply shaped Peter Thiel's thinking. He learned an important lesson. People often overreact in both directions. During booms, people become irrationally optimistic. During crashes, people become irrationally pessimistic. The smartest thinkers avoid both extremes. Thiel explains that after the crash, many entrepreneurs became too cautious. Investors stopped believing in ambitious technology ideas. Startups focused on safer, smaller improvements instead of bold innovation. This fear created a dangerous mindset. People began avoiding risk completely. But Thiel argues that avoiding all risk is also risky. Because without bold innovation, progress slows down. He introduces an important contrast. Definite optimism versus indefinite optimism. Definite optimism means believing the future will be better and actively building it. Indefinite optimism means hoping things improve somehow without a clear plan. For example, a person who starts a business, develops skills, and invests in growth practices definite optimism. Someone who simply hopes life magically improves someday practices indefinite optimism. Many governments, companies, and individuals fall into indefinite optimism. They assume progress will happen automatically. But progress requires action. Thiel argues successful people usually combine optimism with planning. They do not blindly hope for success. They create systems to increase the chances of success. This lesson matters deeply for personal life too. If someone wants financial freedom, hoping alone is useless. Planning matters. If someone wants career success, dreaming alone is not enough. Action matters. The future rewards people who build intentionally. And people who think long-term usually outperform those trapped in short-term thinking. Chapter 3. All happy companies are different. One of Peter Thiel's most controversial ideas is this. Competition is overrated. Most people are taught competition creates excellence. But Thiel argues extreme competition often destroys businesses. He explains this using a powerful comparison. Successful companies are like monopolies. Unsuccessful companies fight endlessly in competition. Think about airlines. Many airlines compete aggressively. Prices stay low. Profits remain thin. Stress stays high. Now think about companies with unique products. A business like early Google faced little direct competition because no other search engine offered the same level of quality. That uniqueness created enormous profit. Peter Thiel believes every successful company becomes a monopoly in some form. Not necessarily a legal monopoly, but a company so unique that competitors cannot easily replace it. This challenges traditional thinking. We often celebrate competition, but competition usually creates sameness. Everyone copies everyone. Everyone lowers prices. Everyone fights for attention. Nobody wins big. Thiel argues that the smartest entrepreneurs ask, how can I create something nobody else can easily copy? That question changes everything. Instead of competing harder, you compete less by becoming unique. The biggest companies in history often built advantages impossible to replicate quickly. Technology, brand trust, network effects, special systems. Once people love a product and switching becomes difficult, companies become stronger. This lesson applies to personal life too. Most people compete directly with millions of others for ordinary opportunities. But people who become unique often avoid competition completely. If someone develops rare expertise or combines unusual skills, they become difficult to replace. The world rewards uniqueness far more than imitation. Because average effort in crowded competition usually creates average outcomes. Extraordinary results often come from becoming exceptional at something rare. Chapter 4. The Ideology of Competition. Peter Thiel challenges one of the most deeply accepted beliefs in modern society, that competition is always healthy. From childhood, people are taught to compete in school, compete in sports, compete in exams, and later compete in careers. Competition is seen as proof of growth and success. But Thiel argues that intense competition often destroys value instead of creating it. When too many people fight for the same opportunity, the result is not innovation but imitation. Businesses start copying each other, lowering prices, increasing effort, and shrinking profits just to survive. Instead of building something unique, they get stuck in a cycle of reaction. In this environment, nobody truly wins except the customer who gets cheaper services, while companies struggle to survive. Thiel explains that the best businesses avoid competition by creating something so different that they operate in their own category. When a company is unique, it does not need to fight for survival every day. It sets its own rules, controls pricing, and focuses on long-term growth instead of daily battles. This is why he believes monopoly-like businesses are more stable and more powerful than highly competitive ones. The deeper message is that people should not aim to be slightly better than others in crowded fields. Instead, they should aim to be completely different in ways that remove competition altogether. Chapter 5. Last Mover Advantage. Most people believe success belongs to the first mover, the person who enters a market first. But Peter Thiel argues the opposite. He says the real advantage belongs to the last mover, the company or person who dominates a market for a long time after everyone else. Being first does not guarantee success if you cannot sustain your position. Many early companies and industries disappear, while later companies refine the idea and take over completely. The key is not just starting something, but building something that becomes stronger over time. A last mover creates long-term dominance by building strong foundations such as technology, branding, customer loyalty, or network effects. Once these systems are in place, competitors find it extremely difficult to replace them. Thiel's idea is that temporary success is not enough. True success is about building something that lasts for decades, not just months or years. This changes how people should think about startups and careers. Instead of rushing to be first, the focus should be on building something that becomes extremely difficult to copy or replace in the future. Chapter 6. You are not a lucky person. In this chapter, Thiel removes the myth of luck as the main driver of success. While luck does exist in life, relying on it is not a strategy. Many people fail because they assume success happens randomly to a few lucky individuals. This belief reduces motivation and encourages passive thinking. Thiel argues that successful people are not simply lucky. They make deliberate decisions, take calculated risks, and build systems that increase their chances of success. He explains that waiting for luck is dangerous because it creates dependency on external factors that cannot be controlled. Instead, individuals should focus on becoming someone who creates opportunities rather than waiting for them. This means developing skills, building valuable products, and solving real problems. When a person consistently creates value, opportunities naturally appear. Success then looks like luck from the outside, but in reality, it is the result of consistent preparation and action. The main message is that life rewards those who actively shape their future instead of hoping for random success. Chapter 7. The Power of Monopoly Thinking. Peter Thiel strongly believes that monopoly is not only good for businesses, but also a sign of true innovation. A monopoly, in his context, is a company so unique that it dominates its market without serious competition. He explains that monopolies are often misunderstood because people associate them with unfair control. However, in business terms, a monopoly simply means offering something no one else can replicate easily. Monopolies are powerful because they have stability, high profits, and freedom to innovate. They do not spend all their energy fighting competitors, which allows them to focus on improving their product and long-term vision. Thiel argues that all great companies eventually become monopolies in their niche because they solve problems in ways no one else can match. For individuals, this means focusing on becoming irreplaceable in their skill set. Instead of competing in crowded areas, the goal should be to create unique value that sets a person apart completely from others. Chapter 8. Building Secrets. One of the most interesting ideas in the book is the concept of secrets. Thiel believes that many important truths about the world are still undiscovered, but most people assume everything valuable is already known. This mindset limits innovation because people stop searching for hidden opportunities. According to him, every great business begins with someone discovering a secret that others overlooked. These secrets can exist in technology, markets, human behavior, or inefficiencies in systems. The key is to look at the world differently and question assumptions. Many people fail not because opportunities do not exist, but because they never look deeply enough. Thiel encourages thinking independently and asking uncomfortable questions about how things could be improved. The ability to discover secrets gives individuals a massive advantage because it allows them to build something new instead of copying what already exists. Chapter 9. Foundations matter more than speed. In this chapter, Thiel explains that strong foundations are more important than fast growth. Many startups and individuals fail because they focus only on speed without building solid systems. Rapid expansion without stability often leads to collapse. He emphasizes that successful companies take time to build strong structures such as clear vision, reliable teams, and scalable systems. This idea applies to personal life as well. People often rush into success without building skills, discipline, or knowledge first. But without a strong foundation, progress becomes unstable. Thiel argues that slow and steady foundation building leads to more sustainable success than fast, but weak growth. The key is to think long-term and prioritize strength over speed. Chapter 10. The Future Belongs to Creators. In the final idea, Thiel brings everything together by emphasizing that the future belongs to creators, not imitators. People who copy others will always remain stuck in competition, while people who create something new shape the world around them. True success comes from moving from 0 to 1, building something original that did not exist before. He concludes that progress is not automatic. It depends on individuals who think differently, take risks, and build meaningful solutions. The most successful people are those who see possibilities where others see limitations. In the end, 0 to 1 is not just a business book. It is a mindset shift that teaches one powerful truth. If you want to build an extraordinary life, you cannot follow the crowd. You must create your own path.